Well, last time I got my face caved in by a ball pit monster. This time it should go a lot better, especially because I'm not going to immediately jump back into the playground and instead, check around the arcade and lobby, try to prepare myself a little bit better for the horrors that lie ahead. Doing stuff like getting quests from everybody's favorite not Elmo puppet. This guy. I guess we never got a name. I was asking for a cheesy bar. And I'm not going to be able to fulfill that request anytime soon because any key items, quest-related items, kind of requires you to finish a boss-level mission, of which I am in no way prepared to do right now. So instead, I'm going to be cleaning up some of the messes around here, playing video games about cleaning up messes, pretty much anything I can do to avoid the onslaught of enemies that I'm going to be encountering soon enough. Cleanup Kid is not... I mean, if you finish it, you get some tickets, but aside from that, it's really just kind of a bad Pac-Man clone made in the RPG Maker engine, so it's extra bad. There are better ways to get tickets. Oh, and like I was saying last time, from this point forward, I'm going to be doing post-commentary because, as you saw with the boss level mission that I was doing in the playground, those things can be pretty long. You got to go through 12 encounters and a boss fight, and a lot of those can be pretty repetitive. So instead of showing everything unedited, I'm going to be jumping around a bit to kind of cut down on that. And with 4 tickets in hand, 4 tickets. I don't even think I can actually get any prizes, and I can use the delivery boy's special ability, light gun, twice with that. No, it's not good. I went and fought a few more balloons, got some trash, which equates to money. Now I can go in here to find that guy, again, who's hiding in one of the presidents. Great. So, that guy, I don't even know if that thing has a name. It just shows up a whole lot. It was holding the bathroom door, preventing me from getting out of there last time, and now it's apparently attacking me from presents. So mimics are no joke. The rising glycemia, I guess you could call it sugar rush buff, gives it extra evasion, lets it attack twice in a turn, and doesn't go away until you hit it. Combine that with its surprising amount of health, it makes for a pretty formidable mini-boss. Thankfully, you usually don't have to fight these things unless you're inspecting presents, and if you're inspecting presents, you should be expecting to fight these. Well, hey, at least you get to hear the more full version of the encounter theme, which you usually don't even which normal encounters usually don't even last that long. And it does give you $50 for beating, so it's not a bad idea, but it is still a rough fight. And then because I did take a lot of damage there. Yeah, 6 of 24 HP right now. I'm going back to the animatronic at the very start here. Get a little bit of health back. Unfortunately, after doing that a few times, she disappears, leaving the words Susie. I mean, the animatronics are known as Susie, as in Susie and the Stees, which was a boss in the first game, One Night at the Stees. So I guess that was Susie, though she's gone now. And she does show back up, but in a very busted up form and not one that heals you. So, kind of a problem. At least I guess it's better than the boss fight that you had with her in the first game. I'll give it that. Alright, so there's all the various messes around here cleaned up. There is one more in the playground area, but I'll deal with that later. In the meantime, I'm just going to go spend a whole lot of the tickets that I've got fighting a bunch of the balloons and everything to play the crane game and get ammo from the stuffed animals. And then I had to do another cut there to go get more tickets. Yeah, I can't say I'm surprised. You seen this place? I guess. Oh, okay, sure. Sure, why not? So yeah, I was saying that there's some stuff that, the increased accuracy you get from using the permanent markers combined with, wildly inaccurate but good items. There you go. All right, let's get on to this. The arcade, of course, does have a wrong turn, and I've been putting it off for now, but... well, we got to make progress in this game in one way or another. By the way, if you do go and look at that guy's skeleton again, it says that it's a transposed guest, which was another thing that appeared all the way back in the first One Night of the Stees, talking about a transposed puppet after a guy got his soul sucked out by it and inserted into a puppet. To be honest, I think that the way that Stazoni's works is just like you get a very tenuous connection to body and soul when you enter this place, and it just takes, to pop that soul right out. Ah, well. So now we're seeing a bunch of the little encounters that you can get in each one of the areas in the arcade. Finding the Not Elmo puppet is good because you do get much cheaper supplies talking to that dude, but you do still have to pay for it. In the meantime, you still get your normal amount of encounters and everything. This is actually not the same encounter because I didn't respond the first time during that one, but I did respond during this one, which gets a much more interesting response. Otherwise, it just attacks you. So yeah, I guess with the 2 competency that this delivery boy has, it actually does deal a little bit of damage to it at the very start of the fight, which is good, because otherwise you can take a lot of damage from this guy. I guess you can get tickets from it too if you don't mind losing health. I do. Oh, this kind of a valuable resource. I only got so much money and I only got so much food. But hey, maybe if you get your own sugar rush buff from getting soda from the animatronic over in the playground area, I guess it can work in your favor? I guess. This is the Massive Tendrils here. Much friendlier type of fight. I mostly deal with a lot of the encounters, especially using a delivery boy, by using that sewer rat style to get the counters on here. Because enemies are always going to be attacking you, so counterattacks can be pretty useful. Not as good if enemies stun you, though, which I think that the Tendrils can, but thankfully didn't. Yeah. And by the way, your regular attack is terrible in this game. You should always be either using an item or a skill at all points in time, because it is... you're very likely to miss, and it does a very small amount of damage even if you do hit. Oh yeah, here's one of the more interesting bits that you get by going into the arcade. There's a couple different ones of these... a couple different arcade games that you can encounter based off of monster movies, but regardless of if you say yes or no, you get this. The fight goes the same way each time. You just attack it, and it kind of moves around on screen. If you miss, it hits you with a static, and that doesn't even do all that much damage. But you do get little messages in binary, which, yeah, I did throw a caption for, just so you don't have to look that up yourself. And there are several different versions of that, so I kind of compiled each one right here. Nosferatu, yeah, and it if you say no, it just skips the little intro text here and goes immediately into the fight. And yes, that is the Persona 5 captioning. I just grabbed it directly from those. And then this is the last one that I could find, at least of the regular types of things. All monster movies. I don't know. That ain't happening. Your soul has been transposed into the machine. You're stuck here, is what I'm saying. And there's also this one, which instead of encountering a regular arcade game, you can get this instead, which doesn't even refer to the pizzeria as its name, but, like, redacts it? Yeah, it should be played at all points in time. There was no correct answer for that. Your money? That's... I don't know what to make of that. But anyway, after finishing these non-boss missions... you are treated to a day shift type of deal. these weird shadow NPCs around here. Although, after seeing, like, Nobody's Home, the game that was made after this one by the same creator, I guess, like, shadow people kind of milling about is shorthand for crowds of people. It appeared in that game as well. And you get some, like, Death Road to Canada, choice adventure type of things. There's not a whole ton of them, but they do... there's fun stuff. I did this twice to get different answers for each one, too. By the way, the two areas that are covered in this video, the arcade and the alleyways, I think it probably says in the title, are the two that were originally included in the demos. And they're also the only ones that have non-boss missions in them. And the only way that you get these, like, day shift things is by doing non-boss missions. So I guess originally this might have been included for each one of the wrong turns that you go into. But it ended up only being included for the arcade and the alleyways. And, you know, it was just kind of pitched for the rest of the game. I get the feeling that originally the No Delivery was supposed to be like a larger game with a bunch of like sections like this, or like having minor missions, like I said, but it just didn't really work out that way. Maybe because they were, you know, they're not that interesting. You do get some stuff like where you can get extra money, or as you can see for like this one, where the alternate choice that I choose is taking a look at the tickets. Gives you, instead gives you a debuff. Not that it matters. Delivery Boy was already extremely terrified. But it's like, I can understand wanting to pitch it just for, like, focusing on just, like, a more regular experience for each one of the individual dungeons. Because the thing is, each one of the encounters in the dungeons doesn't matter between the boss and non-boss missions. They all pull from the same pool, and you can bail on the mission at any point in time after you complete a room. So there's not really too much of a point in having multiple versions of this. But since it was already in the game, I guess it was still included. Yeah, they're trying to take your Polybius cabinet. I'm kind of surprised there wasn't a Polybius reference in this. It's the sort of thing that there would be. Yeah, all right. All right, and then if you do the boss mission, you eventually end up in here. And oh boy, this guy. Yeah, each one of the areas that you can go to, the playground, the arcade, the alleyways, whatever, has a boss at the end of it if you do the like 3 danger level mission, and they're something. So yeah, the Singularity just kicked me to the curb right there. I got stunned, and it got 6 attacks in on me. By the way, you were having a seizure because the Singularity was trying to take over your body. And as you can see in the bad end for the arcade, you're seeing it from the perspective of the Singularity. So good stuff. I guess that's why that's where the transposed souls from that area are going. Just getting to become part of said Singularity. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, anyway, hey, we're back with Mascot. That's fun. I mean, each one of the areas has something different going on. The ball pit monster was apparently just a single, like, human remains skull thing that was controlling the entirety of the playground. And the Singularity is just an amalgamation of a bunch of different souls kind of packed into the arcade machines around there. Constantly looking for more. And yes, this is something that you can do almost immediately, but I was thinking that I might have been able to do something else with the step ladder that I got, so I was carrying it around for a while. And yes, I did finally clean up that one mess in the middle of the bathroom, unlocking my first recruitable character, the Drowned Waiter. If I find another one of the chalk markings, I can summon him up for help in each one of the dungeons. And yeah, there was also a little bit better look at whatever the monster thing that trades trash for money in the garbage cans are. Just kind of looks like a black tendril. Well, that's not surprising at all. They also attack you in the alley. So yeah, the alley it's a friendlier place, kind of, but not that friendly. I mean, the trash bags, well, we already saw the one trash bag in the middle of, well, in the back rooms of the bathroom hardening. So it's no surprise that you're going to be attacked by a lot of those same characters. Yeah, if you try to cut that guy loose, to no surprise, you encounter a fight just like this. This is why you don't use regular attacks, by the way. So that mascot was not long for this world, was he? Well, anyway, here's an attendant. Another one of the new characters. You'll be seeing a little bit more of him later. Not much more. So enjoy him. And I don't know what the deal with this is. Why is this in the alley? Yeah, but it's one of the encounters. And then the other and perhaps more important character that you're going to be introduced to in this episode is the waitress. She is very, very good at her job. Whatever that might... I mean, it's obviously being a waitress, but also fighting enemies. Using a lot of the dishes and also the ability to eat trash. Makes it so that she can really heal up a lot of the damage that she takes. Because trash is pretty common, especially as you're going through the back alley here. Well, I guess when you're fighting monsters, you have to become a monster sometimes, right? Well, that does go back to another thing I said in the first episode, which was that there's a lot of lore in No Delivery. And by lore, I mean there's a lot of things that aren't really explained to you about the story and the setting that you kind of have to figure out yourself. I'll try to lay it out as best I can, but I'll also admit right now, this game is weird and I do not have all the answers. I mean, for example, one of the things is, what is the deal with the people that work at Stazoni's? They seem to be totally fine with fighting monsters and kind of keeping all this stuff under wraps, keeping the many atrocities that happen here under wraps during the day shift. But why? Are they in league with the mysterious management? Are they just here to do a job because, you know, the job market's tough and you just get work where you can? It's probably the first one, but that's not entirely clear. I don't know. I mean, it's not even entirely clear who and why the people who are managing this place are managing this place. I mean, I guess if you need a lot of souls and supernatural occurrences, this is where you want to go. But at the same time, it doesn't seem like they want you to do that. There is like, you do get docked $50 each time one of your employees dies, so I don't think you're intended to be killing as many people as possible, even though clearly a lot of guests and employees have died here. I mean, I guess that would be the reason as to why this place is so haunted, and haunted in a bunch of different ways. Whether it's all the body bags you find in the alleys, the singularity that somehow managed to come about in the arcade, or just the one guy who's controlling the entire ball pit. But still, it's kind of questionable as to why you're doing all this. The only hint that we've gotten so far was the one guy, the one line that we got when when I didn't have the $50 to pay the severance fee, where he said that the charade for the child continues. The charade being, yeah, I don't know, the fact that this is not a horrible, macabre scene of death. But for the child is, I guess, the more questionable part. Is there a child that can't see the terrible things that happen behind the scene? It doesn't say the children. It says the child. Is it a charade for the sake of the child? Well, maybe we'll get answers, maybe we won't. Maybe we'll also get an answer as to who exactly is paying us or taking money away eventually too, but for right now, it's all very mysterious. Oh well, here's the drowned waiter in action. They got a whole bunch of different abilities, all of which use health. So, I mean, they can still be healed in the same way, but they're not someone that you need to necessarily worry about too much when it comes to fighting. Just kind of use and abuse them. They're already dead. Also, why are there neon signs in the alley right now? That's a weird that's a weird thing, because I get why you'd have like trash and like discarded toilets and everything, but not as to why you have lighting fixtures back there. Oh well. So yeah, like I said, since there are non-boss missions and it's only for the alley and the arcade, you do get day shift versions here. Also, one of the things I didn't mention last time is that one of the many shadows that you see walking around here, which appears to be like a kid with a gigantic afro, is the character from One Night at the Steez. So that's a fun reference. And you can see a couple of them kind of wandering around right now. Then I guess, yeah, the intended thing would have been that, you know, you would have worked, like, for example, the day shifts would have had something to do with the area that you just completed. But yeah, there's only the two different sections. And then, unlike the arcade, there's actually two different versions of non-boss missions that you can do. One that's just like a 1 level of difficulty, and one that is a 2 level of difficulty that you get extra money for. And that actually gets a different day shift too, where you can tell people to go to the dumpster and presumably die. Because how you can't go into that alley without dying. Like, what are you even talking about? Yeah, well, all's well that ends well. Okay, and then, yeah, there you can actually see, like, the various missions that you can go on. But the one I'm going to be doing this time, going all the way, getting that alleyway gate key, even though I have not even encountered that area just yet. And here's one of the other new encounters where you can find a pile of trash on the ground, get 6 trash. That's a lot of extra healing. Stazoni's is not a nice place. I do want to make that absolutely clear. And then you come up against unfinished employees. Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, it's pretty easy to take him down nonetheless. And by the way, that guy that you do see in the bathroom, like, back area, he is never going to finish hardening. I guess, you know, I'm just happy to see that he doesn't actually attack you, unlike these guys. Wait, who's also putting all these hide and run signs around here? Now look, I know that there is probably a lot of valuable stuff back here that it seems absurd that you would be, like, scrounging around the back alleys. Oh, well, whatever. That free dishes for me. Most of the attacks that, most of the good attacks that the waitress has are all based around dishes. And the boss for this area, then, is the Custodial Consequence, which is, well, I'm not entirely sure. Is that, like, little yellow thing on it supposed to be an eye? I mean, it's another sort of amalgamation type of boss, much like how the Singularity worked, of a bunch of different dudes. But unlike the ball pit monster or the singularity, which has a couple extra enemies around there to deal damage to you. This one, not so much, making it a lot easier to fight. Now you're seeing what should be your basic combo for the entire game, which is use a soda to get the sugar rush, so you get the 2 attacks and extra evasion, and then permanent marker, and then use all of your big attacks. That really does do a number on those dudes. On any dudes, really. Well, yeah, just because you took care of the big one doesn't necessarily mean that you dealt with everything else in there. And then alternatively, there's the attendant, by the way. If you die to the trash monster, here's the bad end. And there you go. That is the story of the guy trying to harden in the bathroom and kind of how exactly that works. Gross. And then with the and then after this, since the waitress has been pretty good so far, and I actually have a decent amount of like items to go and fight bosses, I went and fought the ball pit monster and the singularity again because, well, you got to do it eventually. Besides, I'm going for some pretty complete, like I'm going for some pretty high completion of this game. It's not just going to be seeing credits. There's a bunch of different endings, and I do believe that you got to beat pretty much everything to get those. So yeah, once again, Sugar Rush, mark enemies, and then just go to town is kind of the order of the day. And if you don't have like a good attack with your character, using a magic marker plus the permanent marker plus the frisbee will also work pretty well. And you can use that frisbee twice every single round until you get hit by the enemy. Almost there. The beckon aspect is pretty annoying, but I don't think that the ball pit monster itself has too much for attacks. It kind of relies on its lesser aspects to do the major damage. So yep, mark and sentient frisbee over and over and over until I beat this guy. Without a bunch of other adds in this battle, it's pretty easy. But I mean, as you can see, as you saw with the singularity, it's pretty easy to get into a loop where you get absolutely destroyed nonetheless. And bam. Buying all those plates was a good idea. I mean, looking at the bad end that I got last time after dying to the ball pit monster, there's like not an ending to the ball pit. So you're not going to be finding that stuff. Nor is it worth it to try and poke any deeper. All right, Singularity round 2, because this guy... You need to know, didn't you already find out last time, and from all of the other people that you've absorbed into your countenance? I guess not. So yeah, the whole static ability to try and stun you is a problem. That's why you really want to have Sugar Rush for this guy. Otherwise, you get that combo and you absolutely destroy. I don't know what ROAE, which is the name of each one of those... I mean, those are like the Pac-Man ghost things that you see around here. Jeez. That stun is a real killer. Yeah, the ROAE, I don't know what that's supposed to mean. I guess it's supposed to be an acronym, but I have no idea. Oh, well, having your mind get taken over by electronic entities is no match for eating trash, so it's not all that bad. It's still like, the thing is, I guess you're not supposed to have the employees killed, Like, that's not what they're intending, and you are supposed to be taking out the various supernatural entities that kind of show up around here. Because obviously, you were told that it's like you need to clean up, and you need to do extermination work. Just don't go too deep. I guess fighting these guys is not going too deep, but it is dealing with some of the issues that have arose in this establishment. It's still kind of questionable as to what exactly they are trying to do here. But I suppose that the only entity that is required to be around here is the child, whoever that is. Just keep chowing down on that trash. Alright, but with only one guy here, the Singularity itself, which looks like the kind of generic entity that you find on the rest of the arcade machines, it's not really too big of a deal to actually deal with the boss. Besides, I have more than enough trash, because the thing is, you get a piece of trash every time you fight one of the balloons in the lobby in the arcade, and the playground also. So you basically get infinite healing all the time if you're playing as the waitress. But of course, like I said, I won't be playing as the waitress the entire time. There's a whole cast of characters that we're going to see over the course of this series. Go, Ascension Frisbee. I was kind of hoping you'd do a little bit more damage than that. The damage that you deal and enemies deal is wildly different. It can be anywhere from like 1 hit point to like 12, it feels like. Boy, the stuns here are intense. But I guess that's what you get when a hostile AI is trying to rewire your brain. Okay, firecracker time. Yeah, it's pretty good. It also hits all enemies. I probably should have been using firecrackers at the start of this fight, but I forgot. It's also a good way to spend a lot of the many tickets you're going to get eventually, because, you know, something that will deal a lot of damage to every enemy, even if it does cost, like, I think 10 tickets to get a single firecracker, it is completely worthwhile. Okay, come on, man. I mean, I'd like to just, you know, sugar rush and everything, but this thing has way too good of accuracy to try and get that with any sort of consistency. Besides, I also don't have enough money. It costs like $10 to buy a can of soda each time. That's some good synthesized voice. No! I have no sympathy for this guy. Well, anyway, that's 3 of the major bosses down. Next time, I'll get some more.